Navy discipline meets financial innovation. I serve the communities that need representation. Tech minds understand the blockchain revolution. Exponential Advisors provides the solution.
Hey, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Richer Geek Podcast. Today we have Joshua Brooks. He founded Exponential Advisors. He's an Army Reserve Chaplain with nearly 20 years of distinguished service. Thank you for your service, Joshua. Appreciate it. He has expertise in cutting edge financial strategies. We're going to get into a little more alternative, not your regular financial advisor. He's does strategies like Bitcoin and AI. He empowers families and organizations to achieve financial security and growth. Mission to impact 250 clients over the next decade. He delivers transparent, values-driven financial planning with humility, integrity, and a belief that sound financial planning is essential for everyone. How you doing, Joshua?
Hey, Mike, really excited to add value to your listeners, and I'm here to have a great conversation today.
Perfect. Now, I always start the podcast out. Tell us a little bit about yourself. We talked a little bit about your service. Thank you very much. Even though it's Army, I'm just kidding. At least it's not Marines. That I wouldn't even have you on if it was a Marine. Just
Yeah.
kidding, Marines out there. I'm Navy. We have to tease each other.
We got some crayons. We got some crayons though, so we'll just gotta put them on the side.
That's right. Joshua, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so married to Stephanie, 8 years and counting, four young boys in the house. Mike, I think you just saw one on
Good.
our pre-con. That's Hudson. Our oldest son is 7 years old, so if that doesn't put the fear of God inside of you. But we are happy. I'm in Weatherford, outside of Dallas, Fort Worth, west of Fort Worth. Launched Exponential Advisors after it got approved from the federal and state regulators. Once you say you're doing comprehensive financial planning, that's fine. You tell them you're doing digital assets like Bitcoin and blockchain and Ethereum.
Yeah.
And they start to ask, I got 50 bonus questions from the regulators. That was fun. But we provide comprehensive financial planning. We serve Army veterans, busy mommies, and Christian leaders. And we do that by integrating digital assets into the financial planning process and sprinkling in some AI for all of the IT tech lovers on the Richer Geek.
Yeah, and that's interesting. So tell us a little bit about how you're revolutionizing that financial planning. It's a tech-driven world, so why not? So how does that actually work? Are you buying the different funds that involve that? Are you actually going out and buying Ethereum? Tell us a little bit how that type of financial planning works.
Yeah, so what it looks like is let's just break it into two sectors, right? So I think your audience is more focused on the fintech
Mm.
and my space is the retail or the independent financial planners, that big circle. And so with fintech, absolutely revolutionizing new programs, new software.
Mhm.
Wealthbox just got another hundreds of millions of dollars in funding
Mhm.
for their CRM model. So you've got fintech applications out of Silicon Valley that are coming out every day. AI investments, Magnify.ai, I saw that the other day. Let me ask you, Mike, do you think AI investments will be better than human investments? Let's just say five, just conservatively, 5 to 10 years down the road.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, well, I think AI is going to complement. So like in my world, I'm still going to need both in 5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think AI replaces the value of having a financial advisor or even that human decision-making process, maybe the kind of the final answer. But I think if you take the emotional biases out and you factor in the fact that it can process a lot of data and information,
Yeah.
I think those models are actually will be superior.
Mm.
And AI is already superior, I would argue, in some ways, as we're looking at these LLM models that are
Mhm.
proliferating, you see, we're using ChatGPT and Claude, and we're using these LLMs like out the box. They're coming out with new models and new versions, regularly. So yes, I am on the AI bandwagon, but
Yeah.
let me also say that I'm reading books by Russell, Human Compatible, and Zarkadakius, writing about made in your own or in your own image, how we're creating computers and all the history, all
Mhm.
the way back to millions of years. So I'm thinking thoughtfully through how AI is going to really impact our society, right? And
Mhm.
also those safety protocols as well. Like, will the robots actually become our overlords? So I think it's
Yeah.
important to embrace the technology, but also to be prudent and have some reservations as well and ask some serious questions.
Yeah. That's the whole thing is not relying on the AI. I've talked to some people that say, well, GPT said this. And I'm like, well, it's wrong. You have to still, they'll talk to me about hotels or flying. I was a commercial airline pilot, and they said, well, I was curious about this, and ChatGPT said this. And I'm like, it's wrong.
Mhm.
You have to still, now in its infancy, sit there and it's like, you know, are you sure about that? And then it's, oh, you know what? You're right. And then it'll start correcting. So you
Yeah.
can't just go one thing. And then some people give me AI interview videos. And I'm like, oh, that was AI. You can't sit in the camera and do it yourself. That's so doesn't even look real. So I think we are a ways away. Yeah, I get actual videos from people that want jobs. Hi, and it's like, hello, I am Bob, and I want, and blah, 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 and then it uses
Cringe.
words that no one uses.
Yeah. Yeah.
So and I'm like going, dude, I don't, I'm not hiring AI. I was supposed to hire you.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, so that's with fintech. Now, I think in what we're doing in the financial services as an independent advisory firm, right, is that we're doing two things that are different. That's blockchain technology, digital assets,
mhm.
and that's AI, right? And actually, research is indicating, again, I'm on the AI, we're going to go to blockchain, I promise,
Yep.
but that the small businesses that are actually integrating them
Yeah.
are doing better, right? Like
Yeah.
statistically significant. And so the lesson that we need to learn, the bottom line up front, as we say in the Army, is like you probably want to be utilizing AI and learning more as it continues to get better. But also let's switch to blockchain. So blockchain, a lot of people they're already turned off. Now your audience, they probably understand it. They get the coding, it's a protocol, it's a set of
Mhm.
numbers, it's software, etc. But what you have to understand about Bitcoin is that this is a 0 to 1 innovation. This is a Peter Thiel type moment. This is not an Apple, iPhone
Mhm.
16s upgrade and then we're moving to 17, or this is
Mhm.
this is the iPhone moment. And,
Mhm.
and so that's why I think it's so unique. And we could get into the economists and all the underlying political philosophy of Bitcoin. We have to do that. But that's why it's different. And that's what
Yeah.
we do.
Now, how do you do that? Are you setting up funds that hold those? What are people actually buying when they come to you and say, "Hey, I want AI or blockchain"?
So the question that we ask our clients is this: do you even understand the technology and what you're investing in, right?
Yeah.
And then we start looking at the options for do you want a custody at Fidelity? Do you want it in a non-retirement account or do you want it in a retirement account? So it depends on the location. Fidelity just now this year announced that they have crypto IRAs.
Mm.
So you can put Bitcoin. So imagine you buy Bitcoin at what is it, a little over 100,000 today, right? In your IRA, Roth IRA, and then it goes to 1 million in 5 to 10 years. So we already know like the advantages of the retirement accounts, especially the Roth IRA, right?
Yeah.
So that's one option. You can also self-custody. So, Mike, are you
Mm.
familiar with that particular option as well?
Yep.
Again, Tech Forward podcast. And so, Unchained Capital is a particular company that I partner with, but there's no like monetary
Hmm.
compensation affiliation agreement. But they help you store your Bitcoin securely, and they're in Austin, Texas. I personally self custody as well. So you also have a company that's been around for a while, Bitwise Investments. So they have an index fund called the Bitwise 10 cryptocurrency fund, which they have the top 10 funds by or cryptocurrencies by market cap. And so you can just invest in that through, say, Fidelity or whatever. Now I custody with Altruist, okay?
Hmm.
And so
Hmm.
they are one of the big
Yep.
independent tech forward, custodians as well. One of the other companies that I was looking at as I launched the business was a robo advisor. I won't say any names, but the only fund that they had was a 50-50 Bitcoin ETH fund. And that's not going to work for my clients who are digital asset enthusiasts.
Yeah, that makes sense. So I got to ask you this. Four kids under seven. You just started your own business. It's like, how do you have any? I figured you'd be like me. I mean, your hair falling out. How do you juggle, and plus being an Army chaplain? Um, my goodness, it's like, woo. So tell us a little bit about how you just, using maybe some of the Army values of just, sit there and just like, compartmentalize and you just the
Yeah.
calmness. Talk to us a little bit about all of that.
Yeah. So, Mike, for your listeners today, what I want them to hear, what I want listen to someone who's served in the Army, 21 years and counting, active duty Army infantry soldier, chaplain, come from a rough background in Houston, H-Town, and maybe
Yeah,
I'll drop some freestyle, some rap bars
there
for your
you go.
listeners. But if you're in business today, if you're making money, and if you listen to this podcast and go through the things that Mike is teaching, one thing I want you to hear is credibility,
Hmm.
integrity, credibility, and character.
Hmm.
So don't get ahead of yourself. What do they say? Like you get too far over your skates or something like that.
Yeah.
And so for me, I have to, in my faith tradition, I have to reorient myself and say, what is my, and I have to do that on a daily basis,
Hmm.
on an hourly basis. Can I share a brief story that really impacted my mental health?
Yep.
So grew up in a rough family. Father was killed, biological type when I was young. Went into the army, trauma, fighting in Operation Iraqi Freedom. Just found out I had PTSD like 2021, doing some counseling. I went last month on a trip to Peru with Heroic Hearts Project in New York, New York. We did a psychedelic retreat, 12 veterans. We had a Navy SEAL guide take us through their La Medicina retreat in Tarapoto outside, of Lima. We did 3 ceremonial sessions, Mike, of ayahuasca.
Hmm.
So for your listeners
Yeah.
out there, that's a psychedelic plant medicine drug. It's a
Yep.
purgative, so you're throwing up a
Yep.
lot. And what that did was it provided, in Western medicine terms, clinical terms, a neurologic reset.
Yep.
So it helped calm my central nervous system so I don't fly off the handle at my kids when they're yelling. And there's a lot of crying. At my house, it's like a UFC tournament and a circus combined at the same. You don't have to teach your kids to fight. These boys will just start wrestling on the floor, right?
Sure. That's what boys
So
do.
so that's so my faith, yoga, exercising at the gym. It looks like I've seen, you're probably doing a little bit of resistance training as well. So just to be square, I wanted to share that story with the
Mhm.
listeners, especially the people out in California or Oregon or Colorado. They're more comfortable having those discussions.
Oh yeah, shrooms are rampant in Colorado right now. That's a good. I'm involved. I can't think of the buddy of mine. Rob is starting a foundation where they do that. They're trying to get veterans off of the psychedelic pharma drugs,
Yeah, off the antidepressant. I'm off of
off
my I'm
off
off of my
that, and
antidepressant.
them taking variants of something that are natural
Psilocybin. Yeah.
and
Microdose.
yeah, microdose, and it takes them off of the pharma, and it's not addictive,
Yeah.
because you're not taking it all the time. So I get what you're saying. Rob is really involved in that, and I think anytime you get anybody off of pharma, I think it's a good thing.
Absolutely.
Um, so let's talk about someone goes to your website. I'll have you. Well, before that, give me a little H-Town.
You ready?
All right, I got to see if you're legit or not.
Okay, well, just for fun, maybe I'll put some glasses on too. Keep
Oh,
it real. And check the mic 1 2. Check the mic 1 2. Mike Stohler in the building, Hotel King Supreme, from Navy ops to airline pilot, living the dream. Now you're teaching geeks and techies how to make their money work. Well, I'm showing them the future where traditional methods lurk. Gateway private equity, you stacking those keys, 1,500 units strong, bringing investors to their knees. But let me introduce you to the digital frontier where blockchain meets real estate. The future is here. Richer Geek. Alternative is the way. Beyond the W-2, we're building wealth today. From hotels to crypto, diversification's key. Exponential strategies, that's how we stay free. Check it out. Check it out. IT professionals tired of the same old stock advice. I'm bringing them solutions that are worth any price. DeFi protocols, net plays, tokenized real estate. While you're flipping hotels, I'm showing them their fate. Navy discipline meets financial innovation. I serve the communities that need representation. Tech minds understand the blockchain revolution. Exponential Advisors provides the solution.
Got to drop it.
Yo, check the mic, Mike. Check the mic. The Richer Geek.
There you go. First time ever at the Richer Geek, we've had an H-Town boy go at it. Um, before we leave, website, how did they get a hold of you? Any education materials, because you're not doing the exact same stuff as the financial advisors. What is your website and what are they going to find?
Yes, sir. Thanks, that. Exponentialadvisors.net. Again, exponentialadvisors.net. And I'm just updating the page for exponentialadvisors.net/media. So I'm transitioning from Substack, Mike, and that's going from Substack to my own newsletter on Kit. It's called Exponential Purpose. A lot of my subscribers on Substack will get transitioned, and it's, it was called the Diverse Lens, but it wasn't really financial planning focused. So we're tightening the shot group there. I'm also going to be releasing some short form videos. So I'm working with out of Colorado into content marketing, the most watched social advisor, Nick Meyer, on social media, like 500 million views, just insane numbers. Really happy to be working with them. And then you can visit that website, like I mentioned earlier, and we have the financial freedom for Army veterans. So that really gets into the details. It's a valuable resource that my team and I put together as well. And so I'm on the podcast, pushing out newsletters, Exponential Purpose, and doing what we can to serve our clients, Army veterans, busy mommies, and Christian leaders.
There you go. Is there anything that I may not have hit on that you'd like to wrap up with?
Yeah. So, I know with you in real estate and having some hotel exposure there, I really want the listeners to give a second glance to Bitcoin. And I want you
Mhm.
to think about the traditional system that your money is like an ice cube. The US dollar is melting at 36 trillion. So I'm not going to ride this horse out to the sunset, but Bitcoin is a fixed supply of 21 million. You have a fixed supply that has higher demand. That's going to push the beach ball down, and just the beach ball is going to spurt out the water, and the price will drive up. So that's the last thing I wanted to share with your listeners, is that if you have a scarce asset that's credibly enforced, 21 million, decentralized, not controlled by any business or government entity, that's the best risk reward ratio investment I could argue right now. But then I tell my clients, lastly, if you want to make the stock market, we can get you 8%, we can get you 10% back in the days. But if you really want to blow up your wealth, then go real estate, because it's a whole different set of numbers.
There you go. Everybody, Joshua Brooks, Exponential Advisors. Thanks a lot again. Thank you for your service and have a wonderful day.